corruption and the people retrieve the money, you will get 5% as your reward for reporting. When you report it in, the law will back you, so nobody will do anything to you.
Are you really sure of the things you are talking?
Oh yes, the government now put in place the ombudsman.
So what did the ombudsman then will be doing, Sarah?
The ombudsman will investigate violation of the code of conduct. It will make sure that people working in government act properly and that they don't do things anyhow.
I see. Sarah, tell me more about the witness protection law.
Samuel, that law calls for the establishment of a witness protection unit to protect those testifying against corrupt people in court.
No, man. I hope the unit can open soon so we can feel safe to report corruption and talk about it in court.
If you still want to know more about the anti-corruption laws, you can reach Cental's advocate.
Liberia, our homeland, a future bright we see, with honest hearts and open hands for you and for me. But shadows creep and darkness hides where secrets like to stay. Cental steps into the light to chase those clouds away. Shine a light on every corner, clear and bright. Transparency's the guiding star to take us near and far. Accountability, the solid ground where justice can be found. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. From ministries to market stalls, from city streets to farms, we're watching close, we're asking all to keep us safe from harms. No more backroom deals and lies, no more corruption sting. With Cental standing by our side, a better future we will bring. Shine a light.
A pleasant good morning and welcome to another edition, and this is our final edition of the program for this period. And my name is Edward Blamo. I have always been your host, and as well I'm responsible for media and communications at Cental. And in case you do not know, Cental is the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. We are the national chapter for Transparency International. And Transparency International is the global coalition against corruption that has chapters and networks in about 120 countries around the world. My name is Edward Blamo again, and this program is funded by the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, as part of our National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program. This morning, we have Clara K. Mala. Clara is our Gender and Inclusion Officer at Cental, and we will be discussing different things, especially around her work at Cental, especially around the efforts she's making to mainstream gender across the work we're doing at Cental and promote inclusion. Yesterday, she had, as part of the celebrations of the 16 days of activism against sexual and gender-based violence, Clara organized a dialogue with young people, on digital violence, and she's going to be talking about that in a moment. But before we do all of that, we will take a few bars of this.
Shine a light on every corner, clear and bright. Transparency's the guiding star to take us near and far. Accountability, the solid ground where justice can be found. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. Cental sings, Cental strives for a Liberia that truly thrives. It takes us all, both big and small, to build a nation strong, to stand for truth and give our all, and right where things went wrong. So raise your voice and join the call, let honesty take flight. Together can break the fall and fill our land with light. Shine a light.
Welcome back to the program Accountability Hour. And as we've stated, this program is produced by Cental's communications section. It is a part of our information dissemination strategy. It is also an activity of our National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program, which is funded by the Embassy of Sweden in Monrovia. And that program began since 2020. The first phase ended in 2023. A new agreement was signed in 2024, and that takes us up to 2026. And that means we will keep around until then. But yesterday, Cental celebrated in parallel with the LACC the International Anti-Corruption Day. This is the first time that we've had celebration of the International Anti-Corruption Day done in parallel with the national event in Monrovia. And that celebration was funded on our project that is called Strengthening Political Governance and Accountability in Liberia project, which is funded by the Embassy of Ireland in Liberia through a consortium of CSOs, including Cental, the NAMOD Partner for Democratic Development, and the Center for Democratic Governance. That program was held in Kakata yesterday, and Cental collaborated with the LSCC and the National Integrity Forum to organize that event, and we will make an attempt to speak with the project leader Cental for that project, Tawan F. Gensin. He's going to give us highlights of what was discussed, some of the feedbacks from yesterday, and all of what happened yesterday during the celebration of the International Anti-Corruption Day. Now, I think Tawan is on the line now. Good morning, Tawan.
Good morning, Edward. Good morning. How are you?
Take us through the celebration yesterday, the International Anti-Corruption Day in Kakata City. How did it go? What is the entire rundown?
So, we joined the war to celebrate the International Anti-Corruption Day. So,
hello?
It's around corruption to get the stakeholders get.
I think you have to change your location, Tawan, because you're sort of breaking in. Could you change your location and call back? Yes, so that was it. The celebration was held yesterday, and that was held as part of the Strengthening Political Governance and Accountability in Liberia project, which is funded by the Embassy of Ireland in Liberia, and Tawan led that process yesterday. Different stakeholders were part of that celebration. It was done as the celebration in Monrovia was taking place at the ministerial complex, and that was being held at the Kakata City Hall. And I'm making an attempt again to speak with Tawan, who is trying to relocate to a better position to speak with me this morning. And okay, let me attempt to call Tawan again. Good morning, Tawan. Are you in a better? Okay, I think we lost him. He's gonna call back. So let's talk. Let's try him again. Good morning, Tawan.
Good morning, Edward. I think there's an issue in there.
Yeah, I think you're better now. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, so like I was saying, so yesterday we joined the world over to celebrate the National Anti-Corruption Day. And this time around, we decided to do it local, to take the fight to the people, to have the local people involved in the fight. So we had an in-county celebration of the day in Markibi County. So it was celebrated on the thing, decentralizing the fight against corruption, mobilizing and support rural youth to demand accountability, improved service delivery. So as part of the celebration, we presented a petition to the superintendent requesting him or demanding him to take serious action against corruption to take decisive administrative action against in-country officials who will be involved with corrupt practices, who will want to use their position at a disadvantage of the young people in the county, who will want to use their position at a disadvantage of the citizens of the county. So we petition him requesting to take tougher action against corruption. But firstly, he has to lead by example as part of the recommendation contained in the petition. So we requested him to lead by example, because when you have led by example, all of followers of his will also be able to do the same. And we also had an indoor program, so the petition statement, the presentation of the petition statement was followed by an indoor program.
Okay, but before that, who read the petition and what was the response from the superintendent?
And interestingly, the petition was read by a young person, a young student, because the fact is that the celebration of the day focuses on young people, so it is just fair enough that young people get more involved in the fight against corruption. So we had a young student from the county who actually read the petition, and so we presented a petition to the superintendent, like I said, and it was accepted by him. He joyfully accepted the petition, and he committed himself to the fight against corruption. Where he jokingly said that he would be able to hold the local officials accountable for their actions and inactions. But in as much as these statements sound promising, it is also incumbent upon us now to continue to engage with the office. So as part of the efforts to decentralize fight against corruption, we will continue to engage with the office of the superintendent to ensure that local officials are actually doing that which they are supposed to do for the benefits of the local citizens.
Okay, let's go to the indoor program. How was it like? What was the structure like? Who are those that spoke? And what did they say?
Yeah, so the indoor program was comprised of a lot of activities. So we had a keynote address, which was done by a very young person or journalist, one of the well-known journalists in the county, Christina Sopon, who also manages the Kakata radio station there. So she served as the keynote speaker, and then she delivered a very powerful message, also challenging young people to get involved in the fight against corruption, informing people that the fight against corruption is an inclusive fight that requires everyone coming involved. And she reminded people that she reminded the youth that corruption does not just start from up there, but it starts from down when we start to defend all little wrong things that we do in our little corner, without us acknowledging that these are all acts of corruption. And we also had the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. And by the way, the event was being jointly celebrated by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and the National Integrity Forum. So Cental, in collaboration with the NIF, that is the National Integrity Forum, and the LACC celebrated the activity in the county. And we are grateful to the Embassy of Ireland for making the funding available. So the event was celebrated under the auspices of the Strengthening Political Governance, the Political Governance and Accountability in Liberia project. It's a 3-year project that is being sponsored or funded by the Embassy of Ireland. And the project is implemented in 3 counties, Margibi, Bong, and Queen-Basso County.
What are the other guests you had at the program yesterday, aside from the representative of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission? Did you have other people there from different areas?
Yeah, so like I was saying, we had a representative from the Embassy of Ireland. So the embassy attended the event, and then they made a very special and powerful statement. Then we also have the office of the superintendent was represented there. Then we have the police commander. He was also represented by the proxy that he sent. Then we have the National Integrity Forum representative there. So it was a coming together of almost everyone who has been meaningful when it comes to the fight against corruption. So the local city system itself was so much involved. So we have the PWDs, we have the women youth, we have the youth groups, we have local CSO, we have media practitioners who are all involved with the activity. And the most interesting part is that everyone was able to take ownership of the discussion. Everyone got themselves involved into it. So just for example, we had to parade from ERTB Junction in Kakata all the way to the administrative building. Then we could see the zeros, we could see the morale, we could see the appetite from the participants. I mean, everyone was so involved with the process. and they were able to take ownership. So this speaks to the fact that at least everyone has now realized that the fight against corruption is everyone's business, and everyone should be able to contribute to tackling or the mess, because we cannot have a corruption-free society when everyone is not involved in the fight. So that kind of thinking, we were able to take ownership of the fight, they were able to take ownership of the celebration, and then they appreciated the Irish embassy and the consortium members, including Cental, NEMO, and CDG for the kind of program that was held. And it is the first time for the International Anti-Corruption Day to be celebrated both at the local level and the national level at the same time on the same day. So in time past, we have had some events in the county. It's either before the national day or after the national celebration. But for yesterday, we saw different version where in the International Anti-Corruption Day was celebrated locally and nationally. So nationally too, Cental was also involved wherein we were at the national celebration that was organized and led by the Liberal Anti-Corruption Commission, and while we also carried on local efforts in the counties.
Okay, I understand you have a presence in Margibi. You're almost always there. You have a representative there, a county view officer. How do you intend to sustain that effort, in terms of continuous engagement with those stakeholders?
Yeah, so like I said, it's not just about celebrating the or just presenting a petition statement to the superintendent and letting it go. So we'll have to do continued engagement with the in-country officials. And in time past, we have had a series of engagement with those people. We have had engagement committed to us, reminding them about the fight against corruption. We have engaged with education actors. We have also had separate engagement with the health practitioners in the county. So in the coming weeks, we'll be going right back in the county to request citizens to recommit themselves to the fight against corruption, and particularly the office of the superintendent will have to engage with him further to ensure that tough serious action or decisive actions are being taken against officials who may be involved or who may be alleged of corrupt practices in the country, because it is just fair enough that the resources of the country be able to benefit every citizen of the country, or instead of just benefiting a few privileged persons within the country. So in the coming weeks, we'll be right back in the country, continue our engagement, and the further is that will not only be engaging with citizens of Margibi County, because the project cut across 3 counties, so we'll also be engaging with citizens in Bonk and Grand Paso County, and we'll be engaging with the county service center in those counties, because the county service center was actually established to take services to the citizens, but as it stands, there are a lot of challenges around that, so we'll still have to further engage with the county service centers to ensure that the service delivery is actually improved, to ensure that citizens have increased access to services in the country. Because when we shall have done all of these things, citizens will now have to travel from Margibi, from Grand Paso, from Bonkale to come all the way to Muscle to get their services of their choice. Okay. So again, we will continue to engage with the local officials there, but particularly Office of the Superintendent will have to remind him about his commitment that he made yesterday, that he is willing to hold his local officials accountable, that he is willing to live by integrity, so that these things can, because it is, in as much as we appreciate the kind of statement, but we are more interested in the actions. So when we see him taking the kind of decisive action, it means that he is actually intentional about what he said yesterday. But until then, we'll continue to engage with his office to ensure that corruption is actually fought at the local level. The fight against corruption is actually decentralized, and the locals are actually involved in the fight against corruption.
Okay, thank you very much, Tawan, and thank you for the feedbacks and the highlights from yesterday. Our petition made to Superintendent O.J. Morris of Margibi County in his commitment to leading by example and the subsequent celebration of the International Anti-Corruption Day held at the Kakata City Hall. Thank you very much, Tawan. And I think at this time we get now to Clara Mala, who is our Gender and Inclusion Officer, who equally had another interesting program yesterday, celebration of the 16 days of activism against sexual and gender-based violence. Good morning, Clara, and welcome.
Good morning, Edward. It has been long. Thanks for having me. So great to be here.
You are the Gender and Inclusion Officer at Cental. You are responsible for ensuring that there is inclusivity in the work we do and the work of the different actors within the government, and also You're spearheading the Open Expenditure Initiative. That initiative does quite a lot. Can you tell us your latest as it relates to the Open Expenditure Initiative?
Yes, thank you again. As you are aware, as a colleague in the office, you are aware that in June of this year, we took a field trip to our 6 project counties. We are in 7. Monserrate makes it 7, but we took our field trip to the 6 project counties. That is Bapolu, Bomi, Riverses, Grand Bassa, Nimba, and Bom, to assess projects that have been supported by the nation through the national budget. That is the county social development funds. And the essence of that one, the open expenditure, was to assess state funding budget, what at the county level, what the county officials or company administration has done with the money that was allotted. You know, each county has a specific amount that is allotted to them, and some of them who also have direct support from concessions, like companies, and so they also have a bit more. So that assessment was done, and intensely from these 6 counties, we saw lots of projects. Some of them were being far back as 2022, 2023, where serious renovations were going on. Some of them they were starting from fresh in terms of new constructions. Some of them they were just basically beginning. They have not started. It was some of them you go and see land and say this is a place where we're going to do XYZ. So in terms of school buildings, houses for youth centers, administrative buildings, superintendent compounds, and clinics, because some of the funds were also allotted to government facilities for renovations and all of that. We went to places where secondary and junior high schools that are under government, they were also being renovated, and even extension of different annexes. Maybe some of the school will be at a junior high level, and then they will construct new annex to take it from the junior high to senior high. And then we saw commissioners' homes were being, some of it being renovated, some of it were being constructed from fresh. And then in Banga, we also saw they're not actually paving it, but they're just creating like community feeder roads. And there's a lot going on in Nimba as well. Massive work is going on in Nimba, where you have the OAU building in Sanukole were being renovated. You have, before you enter Nimba, right, the boundary that separates Nimba from Dalabom, there's this recreational center that is being renovated by the county officials. So a lot of massive work is going on. Schools, they have roads again, and then they also have, how you call it, there's a new construction of a market, because what I got from the engineer there in Nimara, they want to create a artificial lake within the township of Sanukole, so they are relocating the market. There's a structure before second part, so that all of new markets is being built. So too many things.
So there are a lot of things happening, a lot of construction going on, and I mean, as part of what you do is to ensure that there is inclusion, and there are some counties that do not have they don't have concession companies, and so they will not have, probably will not have a county social development funds. Did you go to these counties, and what did you see? How was the gap like in those counties?
One county of such is Riverses. Riverses, there's exploration taking place. So precisely, they don't have a fixed concession company there, but there's an ongoing exploration. And if it is finalized and everything falls in place for the right reasons, probably they will have it there in the future. And so because of that, they are just restricted to this 186,000. It makes it very difficult.
Which is the county development fund?
Yes, it's
which
small.
is across the board.
Yes, it's across the board. And if you even look at in terms of the population, it varies from county to county. So if you give, Riverses has been there for a while, but Riverses still needs a lot of help when it comes to development. Okay, and in our total assessment, if you, I mean, Nima is an open book, or it's an open secret that Nima is fast developing. Comes down to Buchanan, Grand Bassa. I mean, the new superintendent, they are trying their best. There's a lot going on there. But Riverses, I was not too pleased with Riverses. We are yet to pull out a report, and so I don't want to go deep. But because there's no concession company currently in Riverses, it makes it very difficult. So the later they have, there's things that the public needs to know. When the money is sent to the county or the counties, there's a lot of requirements. All the governmental bodies, it can be local establishments, everybody wants a little bit of that money. So by the time you extract everything, you do all the deductions, right, going to actual infrastructure, practically nothing is left there.
Okay.
So that's a huge problem. Sometimes I say, can the government actually increase the budget for the at the county level, or is it possible that the citizens themselves sit with the superintendents and the county council and say, look, this year we'll prioritize this, so as the meter will stand up? Because if you say you're building a clinic or a Palawa hut, or maybe let's say a school, and then you have to take care of about 25 other organizations in our county alone.
Okay.
This, that, police, whoever. What is actually left to actually build a building that is very concrete and sophisticated? So you will see that some of the buildings, they are there, but they are substandard. And it's not basically because it's corruption, it's just because of the way the funds are disbursed.
Okay, so let's look at women involvement in those projects. There are a couple of projects you named, different ones, superintendent compounds. But it comes back to the decision making, the selection process, and the criteria for, taking on a particular project. Did you observe, as part of your research, that women were involved in the decision making around selecting those projects? Was it part of what you gathered?
The county council has a women representation.
Okay.
And the county council is heavily involved into the day-to-day activity at a different county level. So yes, women were actually involved, but in terms of coming down to infrastructure, there were buildings that were, some of them were being renovated out of the county social development funds. But what I didn't see was, besides the physical structure, in terms of empowerment, what the women are doing there that the funds are not being able to maybe facilitate. If the women are into agriculture or village saving loans, it has not gone to that extent. Some of the buildings that I saw, particularly in Bomi, there's a building there. They say, oh, it's a women's hall where they meet. I couldn't see chairs. I couldn't see. So I was wondering, is it just a building? Is that supposed to go beyond the physical structure is good, but will need a lot more than just a single building standing on and say, oh, this is a women's center, this is a youth center. It goes beyond that. Like in Nimba, I spoke with some of the youth, and they said, yes, the funds are here, they are helping to construct this particular youth center for us. But we need chairs, we need TV, we need computers, we need so many things that at least we can be able to come and debate issues and see what our government is doing at a national level. It's just not the structure alone. So yes, women are participating, but they still need help. And just to add up quickly, even with the people who are living with disabilities, most of the buildings that I saw, I didn't see RAM. And I raised that with the project planners and engineers, because you cannot be, I wouldn't consider it as being intentional. I think it was an oversight. And some of them promised that they were going to put ramps to the public facilities and schools to enable people living with disabilities have full access, because I didn't see that. Much of the public facilities that I visited, they don't have ramp there to facilitate the movement of people living with disabilities.
And let's come now to the 16 days of activism against sexual and gender-based violence. And you are spearheading that as a gender officer at Cental, and you had a dialogue yesterday with students on the impact of digital violence on them, young people. I mean, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, yesterday, as you know, the 16th day of activism, it starts from November 25th to December 10th. So today is the last day, and after today, it's going to be next year again. Okay. So from the Cental's arm, we were able to hold our own program yesterday at the College of West Africa, where we were predicting to have 40 students in the hall, but we had more than 40. It was good. It was very interactive. We had 3 panelists. One came from the Ministry of Gender. We have somebody from the disability community, and we had a student from the CWA joining the team. And they discussed basically, because we asked them questions on digital violence against women and girls. How can we curtail it in schools? What are the policies? Say what society organization, what can be done? And they all gave their points. Some of the lady from the Ministry of Gender stressed that our government should be able to follow the cyberbullying law, make sure that it's implemented when people go against it. She also said that they should regulate online platforms where people are non-degrading women and girls and all of that, bringing policy, create more awareness. It should be part of a curriculum. Like, people should talk about it. It should not be something that people should shy away from. And a fellow, Mr. Boyce from the disability community, Pecking Boyce, he said that people living with disability, they face a lot of difficulties when it comes to cyberbullying. So government should also think in that direction and see how best they too can be included in decision making, so as to help curtail whatever tension or violence that people living with disability could face. And the student, Christina Conway, also encouraged her students that they should be more careful with online users, especially those ones with smartphones, in as much as they have cell phones, and to help them maybe get in contact with family members and friends. They should rather use those devices to learn instead of just using it to pay attention to ugly things. And even the gentleman from Mr. Boyd, he said, when we see materials that are not pleasant to our eyes, once we don't want to share it, we should be able, because there's something on the social media that say report. Either you report it, but don't share it to another person, because if it's not good for you, obviously it's not good for the next person. I got to present on digital violence in women and girls. I talk about cyberbullying. I talk about online harassment. I talk about deepfakes. And among others.
Okay, so let's come to the demographics of the participants at the program. Where did it come from? Who were they?
Yes, basically we were dealing with students, and we dealt with students directly from the College of West Africa, because I think they are from 10th grade to 12th grade. So basically they were high school students, and then, like I said, we have our panelists, we have some of our colleagues from the office, we have a team of journalists that also came to cover the program. So basically we didn't have any extra guests, but some of the teachers were there. They also graced the occasion. We had the Reverend Apia Yanti, if I'm getting his first name right. He also welcomed us there. So basically it was very interactive. After the panelists spoke, after I presented, it became much more interesting because the students were asking real questions.
But some of them, did some of them share their experiences about, any one of them, spoke about being bullied, suffering from the cyberbullying thing at one point in their lives?
There was one particular student that because we didn't want her to make it to look like we went there to get information from them from the school. So she was saying something about alleging that the administration at CWA doesn't really listen to the students. So it was a big allegation. I didn't want to make it to look like we went to actually solicit information from them. So there was a way we handled it, and I gave her some instances to see if we could help in terms of, can you have evidence on some of these things you're saying? Is it possible that you do what you're supposed to do? Because if you have a specific teacher that is doing XYZ, it will not only be you, because you meet them in the open. So I tried to play around, and some of the panelists came in. Like I said, we had to control terrain management just to save the day, but there were some issues that also came out around. They were asking questions around rape. They were asking questions around, they seen digital violence. Somebody asked and said, voluntarily, if you, remove your clothes or maybe send your naked picture to somebody online, and it has to, it goes viral, do you hold people responsible for sharing it? So the panelists from Gender Ministry said, yes, in as much as it's not good, but we ask that you don't share it, because that person have made a mistake. Sometimes it's not intentional. You, on the other hand, should be a good citizen and know not to amplify what has already been, an ugly scene on social media. So yeah, there were too many cautions. So we had to stop it. We even promised that someday, maybe it's not only for 60-day activism, we'll have another opportunity. We can go there to talk more about corruption and all of that.
Okay, so but there have been a wave of bullying, especially about women, of recent on Facebook in Liberia. Did that come up during the discussion?
Yes, the panelists from the Gender Ministry, she did mention that. She was using it from the angle where the lady has spoken the next day or so and said that she was in a way because she was she was drunk and she didn't know what was happening, and she has pleaded with the gentleman not to post it, but it was still posted. And she basically the idea was that in as much that she may have been drunk, it should have been material that should have been placed online. And she said that if there was a law or maybe regulation to control what goes online, people who did that or platforms that were responsible for it would have been maybe charged or maybe taken to court or something. Either it's a fine or penalty, so that in the future such thing cannot be done. Because nobody is saying that she was right to do what she did, but it's also wrong to publicize it knowing that it's going to disturb her dignity and then bring her to public ridicule.
Was there any call to action as a result of that program? For example, these are some of the steps we should take. These are some of the things we should do to end cybercrime, especially those affecting women. Did you have a call to action?
Yeah. The panelists talk about creating more awareness, making sure that schools talk about it. Should not just be between November 25th to December 10th. This thing is alarming, and so it should be so that people should talk about it during school hours, because in school you have extra curriculum activities. Sometimes you can take that time to talk about some of these things. But if you see international organizations, even local organizations, if we don't take days like that to talk about some of these things, some institutions just don't talk about it. But these are real issues. So the idea was that talk more about it, government come in, civil society create more awareness. Again, civil society, at the end of the day, you need funding, because this is a nationwide or even a worldwide crisis, because a lot of women are affected when it comes to this, even men and boys, people living with disabilities. Now when it comes to a dick fix, a dick fix is when your photo is particularly taken on the internet and being used like you are a porn star. There's a girl in Kenya who her photo was used as a dick fix, and she didn't go online naked. All she did was to sit home and she saw herself like I'm dressed that day. Everything was removed, and family members and friends were calling and say, "Are you on social media naked?" But that is what you call deep fakes. And how do you regulate that? The damage has been done. Because it was so graphic, BBC had to interview
So
her.
they manipulate
Yes.
the internet,
Yes.
or the social media or the content to injure women.
Yes, and even online harassment, people using taking, maybe you have some kind of interaction with them, they're using it against you to solicit funds. It happens to journalists. The people that mostly affected public figures like government officials, journalists, people in high places, people know that people can relate to, maybe even religious people. You and them have interaction and say, if you don't give me this money, I will go public and I will expose you, you will lose your ministry and all of that. So there is no one that is actually free of this. You might say, oh, digital violence against women and girls, but a cross-cut. Yes, it's a cross-cut. It's not limited to just women and girls.
In November, the Liberian legislature, the House of Representatives, and the Liberian Senate passed a bill that is called Cybercrime Act of 2025 that criminalizes various digital offenses, including unlawful access, data interference, identifying theft, child exploitation, and cyber stalking. Did that come up? I mean, did that bill sprout up yesterday during the discussion?
No, the panelists didn't mention about that. They didn't mention about it. They spoke generally, but they did mention indirectly that the laws should exist so as to help bring perpetrators of the kind of crime to justice.
So now we have this law that's been passed. If you do all of your search, you realize that is a law already now. Probably maybe the president has signed or not yet, but it's soon to be a law, or it is already a law. What do you think could be done to ensure that that awareness around that law is intensified?
This is a very good question. Often, whenever women, and it's not in all cases, but in most cases, anything that has to do with sexuality about a woman is not really taken seriously. And so, take for example the lady who was phone, social media, wallet dancing. We all saw what we saw. And people think that it's okay. So I'm bringing this up to say, now that we have this law, it's good. We commend the government for it. We applaud them for it. But those are responsible to ensure that when people go against this, you should be penalized. It should not be like, oh, she went over there to drink, and so she let her be responsible for her act. If naked in herself, because in Liberia here, you're not supposed to insult, even privately or publicly. Okay, it's against the public sanity. That's what people don't know. You're not supposed to insult someone. You can be penalized for it. So if you can be penalized for that, and allegedly she went there and took off her clothes, if you think that she was creating havoc, you have a right to take issues with her, but you don't also have a right to publicize it. So if you publicize it, you should be held liable for your actions. So I think that now that the law is here, it should be implemented to the fullest. It should not be biased. It should not be something where when a woman is involved, it say, oh no, those girls didn't know. Because you see, when it comes to this kind of thing, you never know when your relatives, your friends, somebody you like, or even your wife that could be affected. So when something for us, activists and civil society people, when we say some of these things, it doesn't mean that it's directly affecting us, but because we are aware, we are part of a global society, we are part of a local community, that is from the national standpoint. You never know when it will be your turn. So when it come out, when a situation like that comes out, let us speak about it, let us talk about it, let us ensure those that in power, in authority, the legal or judiciary system or judicial system take its course. Let people pay for what they have done wrongly. It serves as a guide. Like nobody will just wake up and take advantage of someone knowing that we have laws that are very effective, and when you go against it, you will be penalized. So the only way this law can be a living document is when it's put into practice.
Okay.
And people who are responsible, maybe somebody posts a picture of wrongly or trying to blackmail you, test the law. Go to court, sue the person, and let's see if that person will not face be penalized in open court.
Okay, you're listening to Accountability Hour, and this program is a production of the communication section at Cental. And this program is funded as part of our activities under the National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program, which is funded by the government and people of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Corporation Agency, SIDA. And this morning we have our Gender and Inclusion Officer at Cental, Clara K. Mala, and she's here talking about different things, especially a dialogue held yesterday at the College of West Africa on, digital violence against women and girls, and the different feedbacks from that program yesterday. And now it is your turn to participate in case you have questions or you have comments to make a contribution towards the 16 days of activism and the theme for this year. You can call 0555-995-995 or 0777-700-995. Again, is 0777-700-995 or 0555-995-995. Once you call these numbers, you will be live on the program Accountability Hour. Let's take this person. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you. This is from Louisiana.
Go ahead.
My brother, let me first say thanks to the studio guests for their elaborate discussion. But I have some issues which I have to make publicly today. Because in this country, everything is to say, women. If you look in all documents, women, children protection, women protection, all the organization, all the programs, women. But one thing that the country is not considering, we agree that they are using my public platform because they posting this. Like a recent, we saw it with one of the popular Nigerian musicians, who went in America City and had something to do and he posting out. one important thing that Liberian women, that whether the law there for it, that the government is following the law. Because all the restrictions, no rape, no this, no the must not put in restriction or the law that they no naked dress go on the street.
Okay.
Come on and see a person can dress. What difference is the one that we can post or the one that people posting? Some of them already dressing naked, they come on the road, you wear something that is very transparent and you wear no backing, nothing under, you wear no under clothes, and you walking on the street. Come on the road and see, I'm on the road every day, my brother. What we can see sometimes. So one of the girls we saw the other time, my brother take a jacket and give it to her to cover up.
Okay.
Then she said, no, I let my petrol.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Whether there is law for that one.
Thank you very much. Let's hear the other person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How do you do, sir?
I'm fine. Let's hear you quickly.
I'm Aaron T.C. Johnson, calling from Lockington.
Go ahead.
So, with regards to that topic, when anyone don't want to show themselves in the public, they will present themselves well. But if all you present yourself in the public and you want to show yourself, we will capture you and post you.
No, you can't do that. Let's take this other person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, this is Joseph Waga, question Adama Kanen CK Joseph Waga begin. I call you for an immediate intellectual bureau.
Go ahead.
The topic I say, I like it. Well, I ask you my
You're breaking in. I can't get you. It's either you.
I said, me like, yeah, I spell woman. I'm not even let the cross woman. I'm not even let the woman to cross it. Say, I'm waiting for my life. Woman say, one day woman, not cross my mind because I'm scared to call woman. Because when you call woman, get a crossing of man. Well, can they ask him to have student bread? Please, let it put it one into law. Let it let them start dressing good. They can get dressed, they can be naked.
Okay.
When you see them, they can be seen. I hold your phone, mama. Mama, if outside, I come to play now, I come to send a day of phone on me. So you can know it's serious. They get them naked, and say, I want to see, mama. Mama, I beg you, I just say, what I got something to you. Please, I hold your phone. Let it be dressing good. How you been naked yourself, mama? I beg you, mama. I want class, I beg you, mama. I just say, what I got something to you. Adama Kane. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think we'll go to you now to, get some responses.
Yes, I'm listening to the caller. Thanks to all the callers. There's something they don't know, and I think Liberia has laws on this. The penal law section 11.3 of the Liberian penal law addresses sexual harassment, which include indecent dressing. The same thing I was saying about testing the law. What the government need to do now is to ensure that when people are found dressing indecently, what should be done with them? Should they pay penalty? Should they go in prison? Should they go for counseling? There's a law. And just how we're not supposed to insult somebody.
Isn't that a right issue,
There's you see, where your rights begin or ends is where mine starts.
Okay.
If you walk into a room or an office or whatever, completely half naked, what is the message? And what are you portraying? What are you trying to do? So where can you wear those kind of wearings? Are you going to a nightclub? Are you going to a beach? Even if you are going to a beach, are you saying that where you are going, you will not be exposed to others that may misinterpret your appearance? Because I see a lot of them hating on women and being concerned about women. But there are also a lot of young men and boys that dress very indecently. Okay. They wear tight trousers. They are psyche. Some of them, when you see their shirts, they are shorter. It's annoying. Okay. So this is a national problem that needs to be tackled. It's not only about women.
Let's take this person quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead quickly.
This is Lucky Samuel, and I joined you from down.
Go ahead.
Let me say thank you to the studio guest. Last year, I just heard also in the last part where you said that even men are indecent. If you check in this country, the indecent men are not there. If you go following the radio today, you will not see men there.
why you say so? I mean, what do you consider indecent dressing first?
Because if you now get on the street, in fact, woman, by the time they see men, there's something where they are saying, oh, they bought us, they bought us, look at the way it's going to in fact, they make them for they get their decent. But if you go in women's style, my brother, in fact, they get certain things they call now backing, that they are backing, my brother. When you see yourself, you're listening sometimes to look at them.
Okay.
Even the posting that they can't accept those dresscode, but they can accept it in the street.
Thank you very much. Let's take this other person. Good morning.
Morning, my dear brother.
Let's hear you quickly.
And good morning to your studio guests.
Go ahead.
You know, if we should make this country better, let us be able to call a spade a spade. Responsible women who will dress naked and get on the street. And then people got problem with the person being posted. Yes, it is wrong. I accept it. But people should be able to tell their fellow women, serve as an example to your children, serve as an example to other young people, young children coming out in the community. You can't dress naked and get on the street. And you are not able to come down here, talk about this thing. But you are talking about people who posted it. If this woman hadn't gotten naked and get on the street, for God's sake, to cause problem for our little children that are coming out in the community, what do you think about somebody who drink and smoke and see those kind of thing? They're not going to have second thought. They will take picture and post it. But that is the secondary one. But the primary one is let our women learn to be decent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's take this final person. We are running out of time. Let's take this final person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, this guys. This is Ibrahim Bobolu on the 12th Street. This is a problem in Liberia because we don't have law for the indecent dressing. You see, women dress their ties are out. Maybe they just want to get impression from men. This is why we have more raping cases in Liberia. And then the government should put this under control. Even the boys, they put their trousers down. They want to use the American system. And this system we are not used to. This is not part of us. Okay. We need to come back to our culture.
Thank you.
We need to come back to our culture. Only the government, when the government accepts to bring in impression, when you are caught, they give you something like your fair back.
Okay.
You go home.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's take this final person, very last person. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Manati Kaba.
Let's hear you quickly.
Well, I do not support any kind of indecency. However, the way we humiliate young women, what we think dressing indecently, the way we do it to young men, we're seeing boys in the street with underwear, trousers down, and we take it to be normal. We normalize men dressing indecently and women being penalized for it. So what if we use the law? Because there's a law against indecent dress code. I witnessed an incident around Broad Street and I felt so bad. A lady wore something short, and everyone, the guys, especially some women, tried to attack her almost at the point of brutalizing her. We have police everywhere in the street. If you think you see someone is dressing indecent, why can't you call the attention of the police? Why should you post it on social media? You are accusing someone of violating the law, but you two are violating the law. Why have you not attacked young men who dress indecently as well? So we have to be holistic about this. I don't support it. I don't dress indecently, but then again, you have to contextualize it because what you may consider as indecent could not be indecent.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think that's all the time we have for calls this morning. We can take an additional calls. Let's go to Clara.
Yes, most of the callers, the last caller, Mama C said it right. There's a law on indecent dressing in Liberia. That's why most of the callers are calling. They don't understand there is a law. What is happening is that law is not being implemented.
Okay.
So we have to understand from that standpoint. You see, the family. Now we'll come back to sociology. The family is the bedrock of every society. If you see a boy or girl, man or woman misbehaving, that person came from the family. So in as much as the state should take full prohibitions or they should apply law, that person comes from a broken family. The issue of indecent dressing, it has nothing to do with women alone. Men, boys, everyone, they are guilty of this. The next thing to need to be quickly looked at is the issue of rape. rape is not because of indecent dressing, because babies that are underage are getting raped. They are innocent, they don't know themselves. As far as 1 month old baby can get raped in this country and across the world. So it's not about indecent dressing. So when we're talking about these things, in as much that women tend to be more vulnerable in programs and things, we say, oh, we should empower women. It's true, like the caller said, we should remember young men and boys, because at the end of the day, when it comes to family and the upbringing of the family, the man and the woman both have role to play. Their respective roles have to be prioritized. But in as much as we must empower women, must empower young men for a better Liberia, let's not forget that the issue of indecent dressing is not limited to only women and girls. And if we think it that way, then we are making a big mistake. Then we don't want a society that will be free of such negative and vice. It cannot be one-sided. If you fight it one-sided, then you will not win. Because generally, I have seen, and we have seen men dress very indecently. And that is not good, because that man has a brother, you have a sister, you have a son, even have a wife of a girlfriend. Your image has to portray purity so that your family and the society can be protected.
Okay, let's hear from you. What do you plan going forward in terms of sustaining this advocacy? Among students, with different schools and different stakeholders.
Yes, even besides the schools, even besides NGOs or civil society organizations talking about it, I think even at the community level, at the religious gathering, churches, mosques, anywhere you meet, even in a social gathering, like you're having a community meeting, talk about these things. Even as much that on international event like the 16th Day of Activism, we will talk about it globally. We'll have a national team, international team, and all of that. It's good. This set the basis. It gives the momentum, but it should not be the end of it. Let's continue to talk about it, because even though 16th Day of Activism ends today, the issue of digital violence against women and girls is a continuing process that needs to be talked about.
Okay, thank you very much. And that was the voice of Clara K. Mala. She's the Gender and Inclusion Officer at Cental, and she was here this morning talking about some of the efforts she's making, especially around opening government expenditure for all to see as part of our transparency mechanism, and also the latest